Hello and welcome back to The Sober Connection with me, Abby King. Today's episode is a little bit different because rather than talking about sobriety from years down the track, we're talking about those very early days. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you'll know that I often say there can be a tendency to only hear from people once they've got years of sobriety behind them. And while those stories are incredibly valuable, I also think there's something really powerful about hearing from someone who's right in the thick of it. Because the truth is, the first few weeks and months can feel quite messy. They can feel uncertain, and there are often questions, doubts, cravings, emotional ups and downs, and moments where you're trying to figure out who you are without alcohol. And that's exactly why I wanted to have this conversation, because my guest today is coming up on 2 months alcohol-free. Today we're going to talk about my guest's drinking journey, what led him to stop, what surprised him about sobriety so far, what's been challenging, what's been easier than expected, and what life looks like nearly 2 months in. Whether you're on day 100, or you're simply questioning your relationship with alcohol, or you're on day 1, I think you'll find something relatable in this conversation. So today, I'm delighted to introduce Matt Rodway to you all. Hey, Matt, how are you going?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, how are you?
Good. Welcome to The Sober Connection.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so 2 months in, but let's just talk a little bit about you and who you are and your relationship with alcohol before you quit.
My relationship with alcohol started probably like most sort of people my age, really. Grew up sort of drinking with friends in the park and things like that. 15, 16 years of age, just because it was the cool thing to do, really. You know, sending the guy who looks the oldest and the tallest into the off license to get the booze and stuff like that. So we started sort of probably drinking at that age, 15, 16. And then when I was old enough to sort of get served in pubs, it was go to the pub because that's just what you did. And then, just carried on, really, just going out with friends, drinking with friends. And at the time it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. Never really thought about quitting, when I was in my 20s or probably even my 30s or anything like that, really, because it's just the norm. It's just what you sort of, when you're growing up, it's like, it's almost like you're working towards being old enough, or looking old enough to have a drink and get served in pubs and things, because it's just cool. And yeah, 20s, 30s, never really thought I had a problem. And then I would say probably when I got to like 40, early 40s around, I always link it to COVID. I don't know whether that's just coincidence, but I'd noticed I'd started to drink a lot more in the house. I think the world shut down and you couldn't go anywhere, you couldn't do anything. So it was just easy just to, crack open a beer every night after work. You didn't have to, get changed and dressed in the morning into like your work clothes and drive to work. So it was just easy to have a drink. So I think it probably stemmed from there. Certainly drinking more in the week, and then obviously the weekend was just like a given. I just drank at the weekend anyway because that's just what you do. So that's when I probably started questioning my relationship with it, really, probably 5 or 6 years ago, and started to get them thoughts coming into my head like, oh, do I drink too much, and would I be able to stop? But at that time, it always felt impossible to me that I would be able to stop, because all my mates were still drinking. Everyone around me was still drinking, and it just felt like the thought of stopping was just like, oh, I can't do that. That's just crazy. Like, what would I do? How I wouldn't have a social life, and I wouldn't have anything to do. I'd have no friends and all that sort of stuff. So that's how it. I probably rambled on a bit there, but yeah. So that's probably takes us to probably where I am now, really, with it all.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard to condense 30 odd years worth of drinking in a nutshell. I often say that it's no quick it's not a quick story, right? But yeah, I think that COVID definitely that was a lot for a lot of people. I think that's when I've heard that a lot, that people's drinking ramped up. It didn't seem to make too much difference to mine, but I know that my ex-husband and I, we owned a couple of restaurants, and we had kegs of beer just sitting there, just not being used, and and bottles of wine going off, all that time that we were in lockdown over here, in New Zealand. I think it was like I can't even remember now. I've blocked it out, but like at least 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks, and that initial lockdown. And when we first had lockdowns, we had all our milk in the chiller and eggs and stuff like that we needed to get rid of, and we kind of distributed it to people that needed it in town, which
Mm,
was really cool. But the booze, we kept hold of the
mm,
booze, and so
yeah.
we would go down in the morning with our empty milk bottles, wash them out, and then fill them
Mm,
up with beer or plum cider or whatever it was from the taps, and
yeah.
just go home. And I had this like structure of the day so that
Mm,
we weren't drinking all day. We had like this plan where we had like an hour of family time every day.
mm,
We try and do workouts with the kids, and the kids were a lot younger then. And but yeah, it would be like sort of you can't drink until sort of 3 o'clock. That was the rule. But
mm,
once the drinking started, that was us
mm.
until the end of the night, really. So
Yeah,
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 yeah, I think it affected a lot of people, right?
yeah, definitely. It's certainly, yeah, I found myself from that point drinking, certainly drinking a lot more, and started probably affecting things a bit more in terms of affecting my exercise and, missing out on doing certain things like workouts and stuff like that. And yeah, I had a few times where I did stop drinking. So I did, at one time I stopped drinking for 4 months, and um, I seemed to be coping okay. Went through Christmas, actually didn't drink at Christmas, and found that found that okay. But then for whatever reason, I just ended up for one day just having a drink again, and then it's almost like you're back to square one.
Mm.
You say to yourself, "Oh, I'm going to moderate. Oh, this time I'll just have a drink at the weekend, or I'll just Friday, Saturday, that's fine, and I won't drink for the rest of the week." And as is normally the case, it gets to Monday, Tuesday. It's always my day for whatever reason. It's really weird. It's like I could do Monday. Monday was fine, and I couldn't have a drink I didn't have a drink on a Monday. But come Tuesday, it was like I'd go to work and not having a drink, and then in the afternoon it'd be like I don't know, something just sort of like switched in my head, and it was then I'd be trying to find any reason just to have a drink.
Yeah.
Like whatever had happened, it was like I've had a shit day, I'll have a drink. I've had an amazing day, I'll have a drink, and
Yeah.
it's just I'd find something. It was just weird, like, and I'm
Yeah.
sure I've heard loads of other people talking about the same thing, and I'd just find anything. It'd be like, oh, there's football on the telly, or oh yeah, yeah, I'm playing. I'm playing golf tomorrow or something like that, and oh, I'll have a drink because I'm looking forward to that. And whatever I'd find something. I would find an excuse.
The
Um,
loosest excuse ever to
yeah, yeah. I knew deep down that I'd always end up having a drink. Because but then I'd sort of like try and reason and think, well, no, you said you weren't going to, so maybe you shouldn't. So then I'd sort of like toy with that idea, but I just knew that I would. And it was like I get in the
yeah.
car on the way home, and it's like you're going to go to the shop and get some beer. You just know you are. And it was almost
Yeah.
like, right, okay, I'm doing that. But then I'd feel guilty because I'd end up missing out on going to the gym in the morning because I go to early morning gym classes, and I would cancel off the gym because I was having a drink. So I'd feel guilty in the morning because I'd sort of had a drink. I'd missed my class. I feel tired. I feel groggy. I feel like shit. And then it's like that whole sort of cycle then of starting again, thinking I need to go to the
Yeah.
gym and an extra time this week to try and make up for the time that I
To
missed.
try and make up for it.
And
Yeah.
and it's just like a constant. Yeah, it's just it gets really draining after a while.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I've talked about that. My podcast last week was about moderation and just the
Mm,
mental negotiation that you go through. And
mm,
it's fucking exhausting, eh? It's like,
yeah,
what the
yeah,
hell? Because there's all, I don't know about, if you're anything like me, but I had all these rules in place, but then rules are meant to be broken. So,
mm,
I'd sweet and I wouldn't be drinking. I'd only be drinking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but then, oh, but it's so and so's birthday on Tuesday. Well, I can't
mm,
not have a drink with her. So, then I have a
yeah,
drink and then, well, it's Tuesday now. I've wrecked the week. So I might as well just drink for
yeah,
the rest of the week,
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
definitely. And
ridiculous.
I'm very much all or nothing as well. So if I started to have a drink, it would be like I couldn't have two drinks and then have a cup of tea or something. Which
Yeah.
a lot of people, I see people doing that, and I'd be like, how the hell are you doing that? Like going out for a meal and having 2 pints, and then coming home having a cup of tea and going to bed. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, that's how do you do that? Like, because if it was me. I'd be like, have the 2 pints in the meal, but then I'd come home and then I'd probably like 3 or 4 more at home.
Yeah.
Like I'm making the most of it. Like I'm not just having two. That's just
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like why would I do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I'm going all in here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Definitely.
yeah, and but it was just that constant thing every week, and then I'd look online and the usual searches of do I drink too much and things like that, and but I'd always end up coming back to the same sort of place in terms of, oh no, it's fine, I don't drink too much, everybody else does it, and they're okay. You only live once, that sort of thing,
Yeah.
and I would always come back to the same thing over and over again, and before long, it does get really draining, and like you're mentally just like so knackered
Yeah.
just from playing all this around in your head all the time. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. No. I think as well, like I used to do that Google, am I an alcoholic? I think if you're Googling, am I an alcoholic?
Mm,
Your answer's probably right there, right? But
mm,
yeah, and then I'd doctor the answers so that
mm.
I wasn't, so it would say, no, you're fine. And I'd be like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, sweet as.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it was, I knew deep down that there was definitely something going on.
Mm.
But yeah, what did when you were drinking, what did a quote normal week of drinking look like for you?
A normal week would be probably, like I say, Monday, not have a drink because I'd never have a drink on a Monday. But then that Tuesday was always the day, and I've got no idea why, but yeah, like I say, I'd be sat through work and I'd find an excuse to head to the shop on the way home. So then I'd buy some beers. I don't know, 5 beers maybe, just like watching telly. And then I'd be like, right, okay, wake up in the morning, don't feel too great, but I could still function. I could go to work and I could do all normal things and not drinking tonight. But then Wednesday, and you'd start getting those. But should I? Like, oh yeah, should I have a drink tonight? Even though I said I wasn't. But oh yeah, but I had a drink last night and it was quite good, so should I have another one tonight? And then you start reasoning with yourself. And sometimes I wouldn't. If I felt a little bit tired or whatever, I might just come home and go to bed. But sometimes I would have a drink on Wednesday as well. And then that would mean potentially missing another gym class, so feeling like extra guilty. Um, so yeah, so probably drinking probably twice in the week, and then definitely Friday and a Saturday. So I'd probably say a good 4 times a week, which most people you'd tell them and they'd be like, oh, that's fine, that's no problem, that's the same as me. It's there's no issues there. But for me, it was just like I knew it wasn't right. I knew I shouldn't be doing it, and I knew it was how it was making me feel, and the fact I was thinking
Yeah.
about it constantly was just that was the worst thing for me, was just how much of my mind it was occupying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's a valid point because there's this scale, and I think when people start asking like, well, how much did you used to drink, or oh,
Mm,
I don't think I drank as much as you. Well,
mm,
that doesn't necessarily, there's no sort of like line where you cross the line and then
mm.
that's too much drinking. Like I
Yeah.
think if it feels like it's affecting you,
Mm,
then even if you're just having one glass a week, then
mm.
that's enough for you to kind of get curious and look into it, right? It's not.
Yeah.
I've got a someone who's listened to all of my podcasts, and she sort of said, like, oh well, I'm not on such a level as you were with your drinking, or blah blah blah.
Mm,
I don't consider
mm,
myself to be that bad. And I constantly say to her, like, but if it's affecting your life in a negative way,
mm.
it doesn't matter how much you're drinking,
Yeah.
it's still affecting you negatively. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
quite an interesting take on that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and you do get to the point where you just what was the saying that I heard the other day? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And I think the realization for me was when I got to the point where it was stop comparing myself to other people, stop looking at other people and thinking, well, they're doing it and they're okay. You know,
Mm,
why can't you? Because I'd see people going out and having a couple of drinks, then going up and getting up in the morning, going to the gym. So I'd be like, well, surely I can do that. If they can, I can. But I think the sort of penny dropped with me when I thought, well, no, I can't do that. I'm not capable of just having a couple, call it a night, going to bed and then doing all the stuff I'd planned to do the next morning.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
just, yeah. So that was a big turning point.
Yeah, 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 right. Was there a gap between how things looked on the outside versus how they felt on the inside, do you think?
Was there a what? Sorry.
Was there a gap between, you sort of said before that you
Yeah.
could function at work and stuff like that. Do you think that there was a gap between, how people perceived you from the outside to how you were actually feeling on the inside with
Probably,
all of this?
probably, yeah. Because I'd never, yeah, and I would never like relate it to, if I was, if I'd had a drink and say if I was feeling a bit groggy or in a bit of a bad mood, it was never because of the drink.
Mm.
Um, it was always another reason. Like it's almost like the drinking just gets a free pass, if you
It's a
like.
free pass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it
Gets
does,
away with a
and
lot, eh?
it does. Yeah, it's got,
Yeah.
yeah, it's got. But yeah. So I'd say I never really. It was always another excuse, another reason, like, oh, I'm tired, or yeah, I've had a long day at work, or yeah, it was never something that I mentioned. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm feeling like this because I've had a drink last night. Um, so it was definitely something that was. It's almost like you keep it to one side because I don't know, maybe partly you're probably ashamed of it. Really, like, you don't want to
Mm.
turn around and say, oh, this is because I had a drink last night. That's why I'm feeling like this. So
Yeah.
you just come up with another excuse. Um, to tell people because you don't really want to be honest about it.
Yeah. That's valid. I think yeah, I mean alcohol takes all the credit for all the fun and then
Mm,
just gets pushed to the side when problems start happening. I think there's still so much stigma of feeling like you've got a problem with drinking because
mm,
everything that we see in advertising and looking at other people, it's all just everyone's just having such a great time and look at us celebrating and
mm,
isn't this wonderful, and that's all good, but as soon as somebody starts having what they perceive as a problem with drinking,
mm.
everybody sort of takes a step back, and then it suddenly becomes you're quite isolated because
Yeah,
you've well, you've got a problem. Well, that's your problem to solve now. So there
yeah,
is a lot of shame involved in that, I think. So,
yeah.
but
There
and
is. Yeah,
that stops a lot of people get reaching out for help, I think, because it's not good to be seen to be. Yeah, everyone around you is drinking fine, you know.
mm,
So what's wrong with
mm,
you? You know, it's
yeah.
hard.
It,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, and it's not something that that you want to admit. I think because
Mm,
it's so ingrained in your life for 20, 30 years, whatever it is. It's almost
yeah.
like, well, what's maybe I'm the problem.
Yeah.
Because everyone else does it. Everyone else, well, on the face of it, on the surface, everyone.
On the face of it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, you
And
perceive.
we're all doing the same thing because we're like, well, I
Yeah,
can't let them see that I've got a problem, you know, and
yeah,
everybody's doing the same thing, having the same thoughts. So,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly right. Yeah, yeah, and it's the way that it's like you said before. It's drinking's associated with having a good time, isn't it? Like I was watching
Mm,
telly the other day, and it's the amount of adverts. Like I've only just started noticing now all these adverts for booze, and it's all associated with like sunshine and beaches and
yeah.
having a great time, and like it's almost like you know if you don't drink then you're not going to have a good time sort of thing. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
it's everything, it's all the way it's all sort of packaged up. It's like this is great, this is what you need
The
to be
best
doing.
thing ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It's interesting. I bumped into somebody yesterday and she quit last January.
yeah,
She'd had enough and we were talking about that and she said, oh, I just really notice how it's literally just everywhere. And I don't like,
mm,
it's interesting. I don't think you realize when you're drinking
mm,
how everywhere it is, you know, like
mm,
advertising and, you know, even it's just so that
mm,
everywhere's just so saturated with advertising and photos and pictures and it like kids can recognize
yeah,
beer bottle labels and stuff like that, you know, and
yeah,
it's so ingrained, but when you step away from it, you're like,
mm.
you actually, that's when you realize
It is,
it's
yeah,
everywhere, you know, like on TV, you know,
yeah,
the professional woman is doing some work at home and she's sitting with
mm,
a glass of wine, you know, or, you know, having,
yeah.
yeah, it's just everywhere, eh? It's just
You go
crazy.
into the supermarket, and I've only started noticing it over the past, 2 months or so. Like you walk in, and it's just like as soon as you walk in, it's in your face, like stacks of beer, just
Yeah.
all these offers and special offers,
Next to
and
the fruit and veg.
buy one get one free. Yeah, yeah. You've got like the crates of Stella, and then yeah, the fruit and veg. It's mad. Like when you obviously drinking, you're going in to buy a drink, you would never notice it, but now I walk in and it's just like, wow, this is like
Yeah.
unreal. It's just like the first thing that you see when you walk through the door. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
Crazy, eh?
Mm.
Yeah. How many times did you try to quit before or like cut back before this attempt, Matt?
Um, say I had a stint of 4 months where I stopped, and then yeah, I went back to drinking, and then I'd probably say I've maybe half a dozen times where
Yeah.
I've thought, no, that's it. Um, where I've gone away on a holiday and for whatever reason I've thought, no, I'm not drinking on this holiday. I've had enough. I'm fed up of it. And I'd get through the holiday fine, but then I'd come back and for whatever reason I'd start drinking again. So I'd say, yeah, over the past few years, I've probably 5 or 6 times where I, I've thought I need to, I'd be better off if I stopped, but I always kept coming back to
Yeah.
drinking. So, but yeah, it was definitely it's been a conscious thing for me for probably 5 or 6 years now. With those wrestling with those thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. What made you decide this time was enough
Uh,
is enough?
I would say, yeah, it's weird. There was just before I stopped. I remember I was taking my son we went to this like a bar a few miles away to watch the football, and I was driving. Um, but then we were sat watching the football. I ended up having a few drinks, leaving my car there. Um, and I think we got a lift back from somebody, and I think that sort of at the time I felt, oh, this is great. I'm having a good time. I've had a couple of drinks watching the football. But then I think it was like the next day, I thought that's just crazy. Like you were going out in your car, fully prepared to not drink and drive home, but then for whatever reason, I ended up having like a few pints, um, and then I had to get a lift home with somebody else, and I think it sort of that was one of the things that dawned on me, and I thought, well, why, surely you can go like one night with, just going out, like say with your son, having a good time. Um, you could probably have maybe one pint or even like a few cokes or whatever it may be, and then come home. You'd still have a great time. But for whatever reason, I thought, no, I'm going to have a drink, and I
Yeah.
ended up, like I say, we having to sort of try and find a lift home, and I think that was a bit of a realization of like, I shouldn't really be doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was a couple of days after that where, I thought I'd just had enough, and I'd been thinking it for a while with the thoughts and stuff, and that was probably one of the things that pushed me towards, making a change really.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest fear that you had before stopping was?
It's probably, um, what am I going to do in
Mhm.
social situations, and people saying, "Oh, why aren't you drinking?" Or people
Yeah.
asking the question, "Why aren't you drinking?" Um, so that was one of the things. Maybe I won't be interested. Maybe people will think, "Oh, I'm not going out with him. He doesn't drink anymore, so we won't bother inviting him out." So that was probably the biggest thing. Especially when you think it's something that you've done for so long and it's associated to so many things, so many
Yeah.
experiences. Um, and then you suddenly decide, right, that's it. I'm not drinking anymore. Yeah, that was definitely one of the things that went through my mind of, yeah, like the social thing, like,
Yeah.
how's that going to work for me?
Yeah. And I think that's probably the
Mm,
biggest thing on people's, top of their list,
yeah, yeah,
for worry, the friendship stuff and
mm,
yeah, how you're going to socialize. How has it been? I've sort of seen a few of your reels and you've done a sober holiday and you've been to a concert and stuff like that,
yeah,
How's it
yeah.
been?
I mean, to be honest with you, like it's been really good. I think like in the first week, I was going on. It was a guy that I know. It was like a 60th birthday party, and he'd laid on. He was at a football match, and he'd hired out this room, and there was like free booze all day. And it was like the weather was amazing. The sun was shining. There was a balcony, and it was like the perfect recipe for like an all day session,
Disaster.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a week in, but I already knew. I mean, this had been booked at 8 for ages as well, but at that point, I knew that I wasn't going to have a drink. Um,
Yeah.
and I was almost, I was like, as soon as we got into the place, I was looking in the fridge to see what alcohol-free options there were, and there was quite a few, thankfully. So I managed to navigate that. Once I had the first couple of like drinks, I was absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Had a really great time. Like you said, I've been away on a holiday with family, like a cruise. Again, that was pretty much um, all inclusive beer as well, and
Yeah.
that didn't bother me.
Yeah,
Enjoyed the
cool.
experience, enjoyed getting up in the morning early and just like going for a walk around the ship and like being clear headed and yeah, it was just really nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
no,
once you've done everything for the first time, like you've ticked off a few things and it's yeah, then the more things you tick off and the more times you
mm,
strengthen that sober muscle,
yeah,
it's like, oh, this is actually isn't too bad. And then you start
yeah,
seeing the positives in not being hungover the next day or,
mm,
not making a dick of yourself, and it's
yeah,
like, well, this is great, Yeah, this is the new normal. So yeah.
yeah, definitely. One thing that I always think about is I think I did a reel on this because it was on my mind at the time is like to playing it forward.
Yeah.
That's something that's definitely helped me. If, like for example, on the day session with my friends, you, I get to the point in the evening where I start thinking about tomorrow and thinking, "Oh, I'm just so looking forward to going home early, having a good night's sleep, getting up and feeling like fresh in the morning." And that's what then gets me through the rest of the evening because I'm thinking about how good I'm going to feel the next morning.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's definitely something that's got me through a lot of these like things that I've done over the past couple of months. Just thinking about the benefits
Yeah.
of how I'm going to feel the next day. I'm going to remember everything. I'll be able to like think about the day before and remember conversations and different things that we did and stuff like that. Whereas in the past, it's like you wake up and you're like, oh God, what happened last night? I've got no idea.
Yeah.
Like trying to piece it all together, and you spend the whole day trying to piece together the night, and
Yeah.
that in itself is draining. But no,
Yeah.
it's been really good so far. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I that play it forward. I mean, I'm over 4 years sober now, and I
Mm.
still live by that.
Yeah.
When I get triggered or have this urge to fuck it all and have a drink, I'm like, no,
Mhm.
no. Of
Mm.
plus I've worked too hard to
Yeah.
get to this point to
Exactly.
balls it up now. But yeah, it's play it
Mm.
forward is such a good piece of advice. Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
What were you hoping would change when you stopped drinking?
Um, I think first and foremost, I wanted to do it for myself to help, how I was feeling, to make myself feel better and give myself more energy, more
Hmm.
focus, more time, and things like that. But I knew that if I did that and it helped me, it would also help the people around me, like my family and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
knew that there would be a massive knock-on effect.
Yeah.
Um, and that's definitely been the case, like just doing things with the kids and stuff like that. Whereas, before if you have a drink, you sort of end up just vegging out like a bit of a zombie on the settee and you don't really do anything. But like now it's like, well, I'm not drinking, so I feel like I've got loads of time. Like it's
Yeah.
mad. Like I can just do loads of stuff and the night is still young, because
Yeah.
I'm not my time's not taken up by having a drink. So yeah, just spending time with the kids and not doing anything in particular, really. Just even if it's just like kicking a football around in the garden or just like playing around with them upstairs or something like that. It's probably things that I wouldn't have done before
Mm.
because I was that focused on having a drink.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so it's definitely helped. Like I say, first and foremost, it's helped me and giving me all those different things. But then, yeah, knock-on effect is me and my family and people around me, and even like my work as well. Like, it's before you might go into work and feeling a bit sluggish and a bit slow and a bit tired, and you know you struggle through the day. But like now, you just feel like you've got so much more energy and focus, and you can just stay concentrated and on certain things. And yeah, it's affected everything really in a positive way.
Yeah, that's awesome. How old are your kids?
So 14 and 10.
Yeah. So that's a
Yeah,
really cool age as well, and
yeah,
and like you said, I mean, it's not you're not necessarily doing anything extraordinary, you're just
mm,
kicking a football around or, but
mm,
the fact that you're present with them and
yeah,
that's all you need to be, like
mm,
100% present. I know for me, for my kids, like I've got so many regrets about my drinking, like with the kids when they were little, like I
mm,
100% prioritized my drinking over
mm,
spending time with them, and
mm,
they'd come over and I'd be like, oh, mum, mum's having social time with her friends or whatever it was,
Yeah.
or just drinking at home alone, and they just didn't want to come near me, and
Mm.
and so it's just really shit. But I just
Mm.
remember when I finally stopped, slowly they would start coming into the lounge and sitting with me, and we'd start binge watching
Yeah.
TV or like TV
Yeah.
programs, or like I remember my eldest daughter, she would just come and sit next to me, and then we binge watched Game of Thrones, and
Yeah.
it was about probably like the fourth or fifth episode that I kind of was
Mm.
had this realization, like
Yeah.
we never would have done this when I was
Yeah.
drinking,
Yeah.
because
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
as soon as the bottle of wine came out, they were gone.
Mm.
They were off to their rooms because, this is
Yeah.
mum's
Yeah.
time, which
Yeah.
is just so sad. But
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't have to be like these big grand gestures, right? It's just the fact that you're 100% present and you're giving your kids your attention, which is what,
Yeah.
as parents, we're supposed to do.
Yeah. And I think it's
It's
like
not rocket science.
you've just got more like clarity as well. And some nights I might just take myself upstairs and have a bit of time to myself, or just go to bed early, and that's fine. If
Yeah,
you've had a day where I don't know, you've had a bit of a stressful day, you shouldn't feel guilty about just prioritizing yourself. And
yeah,
maybe
100%.
if I was drinking, or when I was drinking, you'd have the guilt about a lot of things really. And whereas now it's not like that. I'll play with the kids and I'll do all that stuff, which is great. But then some nights I'll come in, I'm a bit tired, I'm just going to go upstairs and I'm just going to chill out for the evening. And
Yeah.
it's fine to do that, because it's like I said before, you've got to prioritize yourself. And if you're feeling tired and you feel like you need a rest and some time by yourself, then it's okay just do that.
Yeah, yeah. And that's teaching the kids as well, that's how
Mm.
we regulate that's how we regulate ourselves. If we've
Mm.
had a shit day, we just want to have some time out. That's totally
Mm.
cool. As opposed to the only thing that helps me stay regulated is to smash a few beers or drink a
Yeah.
bottle of wine, like that's
Yeah.
not, we don't want our kids learning that that's the only way that you cope
No.
with stresses of life, right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
What's been, have you had moments where you wondered who you are without alcohol, sort of since you quit?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think I did a video on this just because I was just sat there thinking like, God, I feel really weird and really strange and I can't describe it. So I just did this video, which probably when I look back, just probably looks like me just talking a lot of like bollocks. But
No, it's great. It's great. Your
yeah,
videos are cool.
no, yeah, it was a bit. I felt like I was in. I think I described it as no man's land. Like
Yeah.
I'd stopped drinking, and like the drinking me was here, the not drinking me is here, and I was like in this middle area really.
In
It's
the
like I'm not
dusty
that.
area in
I'm
the
not that
middle.
person. I'm not that person. So I'm this person in the middle. And it was about a couple of weeks, 2 weeks or so, or maybe a week. I don't know now. Can't remember. But it was just a really weird feeling of like, who am I? Like, is this it now? I'm not a drinker. I'm not going to be drinking anymore. So if that's the case, what do I? What do I do? What am I? It
Yeah.
sounds weird talking about it like that, but I think because you've done it for so long, it's like, I have a drink, so I might go out with my friends on a Friday night and Saturday night. So that's who I am. That's what I do. But I don't do
Yeah.
that anymore. So what do I do?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's I have had feelings like that, and it was a bit of a strange couple of weeks when I was thinking that way. Um, but I guess it's just finding different things and learning to live your life, slightly differently, really, because you've been used to a certain lifestyle for 20 odd years. A lot of it revolving around drink. Now, drink's a massive part of it, and that suddenly is just not there anymore. It gets taken away, and it's just like, oh
Mm.
shit! Like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then you do learn, like I said before, you do things that you didn't do before, like you spend more time with the kids, or you might take up a new hobby, and I've started playing more golf, and I've started going to the gym a lot more as well, because as I said before, that got knocked on the head countless times because of me having a drink. But now I'm really consistent with the gym, and I'm going, you know, 4 or 5 times a week. So
Yeah.
that's these things are now happening as a result of me not drinking. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is yeah, like you said, when it's been in part of your life consistently for so long, it
Mm,
is kind of terrifying at the start, like, well, who am I? But then you have like this mind switch. Well, actually, it's exciting
Yeah, it
because you
is. Yeah.
can just become whatever you want to be now. And I think your values change. You know, in a few months' time, you'll look back and what you valued a year ago will be totally different from what you value now,
Mm,
which is also really cool. Like you
yeah.
have a complete switch of and what's important to you, what you prioritize, all that kind of
Mm,
stuff that you couldn't do before or you didn't do before back when alcohol was playing a massive part. So it's very cool. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, how have friends and family reacted?
Um, on the whole, pretty good. I've had the usual comments from certain people who'll say, "Oh, you're not having a drink? Oh, why? What's up?" And it's like there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just taking a break, or I've just had enough, or
Yeah.
yeah. So I found that not hard, but I wasn't expecting as many people um to sort of not have an issue with it, but to ask, oh, why are you not drinking, sort of
Yeah.
thing, and then that's led me to just come up with some reason why I'm not drinking. Like I say, I've used the whole I'm on a health kick. I've used that a few times. I'm on a health kick, or I'm just trying to be good. I'm on a bit of a detox and things like that. But I think the longer it goes on, it gets easier. The more people ask, I just turn around and say, well, I don't drink, or
Yeah.
I'm just off the booze. I'm just not drinking, and it just gets easier.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, that the first few weeks, it's just a bit like, oh, please don't ask me why I'm not drinking, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna have to come up with a reason or an excuse why I'm not drinking. Yeah, but it definitely gets easier.
Yeah, it's crazy that we have to try and justify it.
I
I know
know.
back when I first quit, I'd fully like trauma dump on people and be like, well, you know, I had all this trauma and I used to drink too much and blah 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 and
Yeah,
tell people my whole life story, which they didn't care,
yeah,
you know, but I felt like I had to justify my drinking and
yeah,
now I'm just like, oh no, I don't drink, you know, and
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so proud of say to be able to say that. And
yeah.
9 times out of 10 people are like, oh, good on you, you know, and
Mm,
yeah, they're not bothered. But I went to my middle daughter went to a school ball on the weekend, and there was pre-drinks before, and
mm,
I there was all these beautiful kids, beautiful teenagers, all dressed up, all the boys in suits and the girls in dresses. And I
mm,
went along and I didn't know any of the parents and I didn't know really what I was walking into. And I bought some 0% drinks and I turned up and then all these parents started coming in. And then this one lady, I could instantly tell that she'd had a few drinks before she turned up.
yeah.
She was very much like how I would have been back in the
Mm,
day, and she came, we were having a little bit of a chat and she grabbed this bottle and she went to pour it into my glass. And I was like, oh, no, I'm good. And she was like, oh, I'll just pour you one. And literally was about to pour me a
yeah,
drink. And I said, oh, no, I don't actually drink.
yeah,
And the look that she gave me, and then within seconds she was gone. She didn't want to talk
yeah,
to me at all.
yeah,
And I was like, that is so how I would have been. Like, you don't
yeah,
drink. I don't want to talk to you anymore, sort of thing. So it was
yeah,
quite funny to be on the receiving end of that because I fully would have
yeah.
been like that back in the day. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, most people have been absolutely fine about it, and then it's funny at the start. A few people question you. Oh, why are you doing that? And you explain your reasons and stuff. But I would say recently, people are quite intrigued by it now.
mm,
Maybe it's something that they're thinking of doing themselves, or
yeah,
it's been something that's on their mind, and about stopping drinking because yeah, I've definitely noticed it recently. People are asking more questions and
yeah,
oh yeah, that's really impressive. That's really cool. Oh, do you feel better? Oh, do you feel like you got more energy? And yeah, and I'm noticing that a bit more, which is great. When it gets like that, I'm just like, oh, this is brilliant. I've just got free reign
yeah,
now to just like
yeah. Have a
unload
seat.
on them.
Let me tell
Yeah,
you all the
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah. I can just say, oh yeah, well, it's just all the reasons why. It's just it's brilliant.
Yeah,
So yeah, so I think the longer you do it, because I think at first maybe people think it's just like a bit of a fad or a phase, or they'll go
you'll
off it.
grow out of
It's
it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they'll be drinking in no time. But then the
Yeah,
longer it goes on, yeah, I think that when they realise it's yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, they're quite intrigued by it. Well, some people are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. What emotions have shown up now that alcohol isn't there to mask them, do you think?
Um, Emotions. So I think I find myself, because I said before, you've got more time on your hands and more time to think, but it's almost like you're thinking about good stuff and it's all like positive stuff, as opposed to when you're drinking and it tends to be quite negative, and if you're feeling a bit anxious and fed up, and the thoughts can be quite negative thoughts. Whereas
Yeah.
I've definitely found, since I stopped, the thoughts are quite good thoughts, and I'm thinking about good things, and like maybe like reminiscing on things in the past and things that I've done or we've done as a family, and things like that. And it's all good things that I'm thinking about, and then I might think about, oh yeah, I've got that to look forward to next weekend. I'm going on, we're going out have a meal or something like that, or I've got that holiday to look forward to, and yeah, so I find my mind like drifting quite a lot.
Yeah.
Probably because it's got more capacity to do so nowadays. So yeah, so just a bit more, yeah, just thoughtful and spending more time just with my own thoughts, I guess, really, but in a positive way, and thinking about good things and things that I've got to look forward to.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's a really good mindset to have,
Mm,
like looking for, because I think a lot of people when they think about quitting, or they think that they're, it's the classic like, oh, I'm gonna miss out on this and I'm gonna miss out on this,
yeah.
and what they look at what they're gonna lose more than
Mm,
when actually like it's what we're gaining, it's
yeah. Yeah.
you're gaining all this extra time and all this positive,
Mm,
so many positives. But
yeah.
I think when you're first thinking about quitting, you
Mm,
can't see the positives because your positive is surrounded
yeah.
with drinking, right? So
Exactly. Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
hard to see it. But
Yeah. It just
what's been
open.
the biggest? Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, it's almost like the more you do it and the longer you don't drink it, it's like all these little doors just keep opening, don't they? Like you start off and it's just like, you're at the start of this journey, but then all of a sudden, all these little doors start opening, and you're seeing all these different opportunities and things to look forward to, and it's
Yeah,
yeah, it's a bit of a weird analogy there, but
yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. What's been the biggest positive change for you? Do you think?
um, positive change. I would say for me personally, I'd say health wise, really.
Yeah,
So yeah, more consistency with the gym. For the first month of not drinking, I ate like shit, really. Like didn't I wasn't bothered about what I was eating, but I
yeah,
think my mindset was, well, I'm not drinking, so I'm gonna eat what I want to sort of get through these early days,
yeah,
and that was
absolutely.
that was that was the way I saw it. Um, but then after like 6 weeks, I think I was ready to start eating properly again.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'd say for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I've been eating really well. I've been going to the gym quite regular, so I feel like that side of it is really improved massively. Like I've got more energy, and that's noticeable now. I'm waking up and going to the gym, and I feel like I've got more energy in the gym. Like I'm not feeling sluggish or tired. Um,
yeah,
and then I'm eating right as well now. So I think that's definitely something that's improved massively, and it's something that I just wouldn't have been able to do before if I was
yeah.
drinking, because that would always be the thing that was just holding me back all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Has there been a moment in the last 2 months where you thought this is actually worth it?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Um, so yeah, I think I've felt. I mean, there's been a couple of times where I've maybe thought, it's probably more in the early days, really, where I've thought to myself like, oh, I've stopped drinking. Like, what am I going to do with myself? How am I going to, the whole socializing thing, and looking at the future, and thinking of all these different holidays and different things that I'm going to have to do without drinking, and thinking like, am I going to be able to get through it? But then, as it's gone on, things have obviously got a lot better, and I can now see that I can deal with all these situations, and I can go through all these experiences without drinking, and it'll be even better if I do it sober. It'll be 10 times better than it would have been if I was drinking.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I definitely at the start a little bit like, oh God, how am I going to cope? But yeah, since then it's just everything's just like a positive really, and I'm looking at different things that are coming up, and I'm actually looking forward to things now. Like when I went to a concert a couple of weeks ago, I was actually looking forward to going to the concert, even though I knew I was going to be sober,
Yeah.
because I could enjoy it a lot more and I could remember it and remember all the songs and the experience and things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Not standing in the queue for the toilet or the bar while your favourite song plays.
exactly. Yeah, I saw the whole
The
thing, and
amount
it's
of
like, oh,
times I've done that.
I've never done that before. I watched the whole gig, and it was like, God, this is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. um, what do you miss about alcohol?
um, what do I miss? That's a difficult question.
Mm,
Um, what do I miss? I mean, sometimes I've still had moments where, probably a couple of times, and I don't know why, but the weather over here. I mean, it's not great today, but it has been quite nice recently, and it's a couple of times. You drive past a beer garden, and you see people sit outside and they're having a drink in the sun. So a couple of times I've just driving past, and you look over and you think, oh, that looks nice.
yeah.
So it's probably that's, and it's probably not the drink that I miss. It's the experience. I think
Yeah.
it's the
You can still
associations
do
with
that with a
drinking.
0% beer though,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I get to eventually with my thoughts. It's
Yeah.
just, um, but that's the thing. It's not the actual drink or the beer that I'm missing. I think it's just looking, and it's just that you know that whole experience of being sat there in the sun, with your
Yeah.
friends. But as you say, it doesn't matter what you're drinking.
Yeah.
You can still have that same experience.
Yeah, I really miss UK beer gardens.
Mm.
They don't have you beer gardens in New Zealand, and I just I just miss them. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's there's something about sitting in a beer garden in the
yeah,
summer in the UK. But yeah, yeah, like I said, it doesn't really matter what's in your glass. It's the whole thing.
yeah,
It's not alcohol. Once again, alcohol taking the credit for
exactly.
that situation, but
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be.
yeah.
What's the biggest misconception that you've discovered about sobriety?
But it's boring.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and that's it really. People just think, oh, you're boring because you don't drink, but
Mm.
it's just completely far from it. I've probably done things over the last couple of months that there's no way I could have done if I was drinking.
Yeah.
I think look back to my drinking days, and I think I missed out on so much probably.
Yeah.
Days hungover, days wasted, and I look back and I think, God, that's just crazy. Like just wasting days, just because you've had a few drinks. Whereas
Yeah.
now, I've literally wake up early and I've got the whole day ahead of me. Um, to just, you don't have to do anything special. It's just, you know, just enjoy the day and enjoy
Yeah.
being clear-headed and clear-minded.
Yeah, it makes me laugh that people say that it's boring, but
Mm.
then they're quite happy to have the same conversations every Friday, have the
Mm.
same amount of drinks, or do the same things, hang out with the
Yeah,
same people, and then lie on the couch on Saturday just feeling sorry for
yeah,
themselves, eating shit food. And
yeah,
it's like, well, okay, who's boring?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I think
yeah,
I'll take my life over yours these days. I think so.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's just, yeah. I suppose when you're in that moment when you are drinking, I guess it probably does feel exciting. It does feel like I'm having a good time, but it's just everything else that comes with it. That yeah, the time wasted. It's just yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah,
good.
yeah. If your sober self could talk to the version of you from 70 days ago, what would
Hmm.
you say?
Um, I would say just keep going, just crack on, and it'll just get better and better.
Yeah.
that's pretty much it, really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
enough though. That's enough.
Yeah.
What are you focusing on now?
Um, so yeah, just I think I'm just enjoying just having just more time on my hands, more physical time, but just having that mental clarity now,
Yeah,
and just being able to just think a bit clearer about things, and about things that I'm doing or things that I've got coming up. And it's summertime here. And it's coming up to summertime, so I think there's a lot of things to look forward to.
yeah,
Holidays, and the kids are off, so they've got their school holidays, and got a few things coming up, like activities with the gym. I've got golf stuff coming up, so I'm just focusing on looking forward to all those things that I've got coming up, really. Yeah, so no, it's good.
yeah. That's cool. That's cool. What are you hoping life looks like a year from now?
Uh, well, I'm hoping that. I mean, it's weird because I think if it keeps getting better and better, I mean, it feels pretty good now. Like, I'm in a decent place with how I'm feeling. But yeah, if it keeps getting better and better, then yeah, I mean, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, just continue, just like learning, really. And because the sober community has, I always say that it's been a game changer for me. Like, since I stopped drinking, like listening to different people like yourself and other people with the podcasts and whatever, that's helped me massively. So I'll never stop doing that. I'll always
yeah,
listen to people online, and because I'll always find a different nugget or a different bit of information that I didn't know before. And so yeah, I think that's probably the key thing, is I'll just keep learning, and just keep building, and yeah, just working on myself, really.
yeah, yeah. That's cool. I think it's important to be part of that sober community. I mean, it's so
Mm,
supportive, and I still get inspired by people that are,
mm,
5, 6, 7, 8 years sober. I'm kind of
mm,
like, I look at people that are 8 years sober now, and I'm like,
mm,
that could have been me. Like,
mm.
it took me 4 years to quit. I could be over 8 years sober now, but
Yeah,
so the people that are 8 years sober, they kind of started at the same time as me, and so I
mm,
followed them for that long. So
yeah,
it's actually really, really cool to see. But I mean, yeah, everybody's got a different perspective on stuff,
yeah,
but we're all kind of like fighting the same fight, right? So
exactly,
it's really cool. Yeah, it's a
exactly,
good
yeah.
community to be a part of.
It really is, and I couldn't have done without it, really. If you're having a bit of a low moment or something, then it's you just look online, and you might message somebody, and just check in with somebody, which is great, or just watch someone's like video that they've posted about something, or just read
Yeah,
something, and it'll just set you back on the right track and make you realize that, yeah, you are doing the right thing, and it is worth it. And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's good.
Yeah, that's cool. What would you say to someone listening who's sitting on the fence about taking a break?
Uh, I would say just go for it. What's the worst that can happen? Just
Mm,
just try it. Just give it a few weeks, 30 days, or whatever. And then just see how it makes you feel. See how your sleep improves, and how much more energy you've got, and how much more alive you feel.
yeah,
Um, but I'd definitely tell them to educate themselves on it as well, because I think if you just try and white knuckle it, I mean, I've done that in the past, and it just doesn't work. So I would
yeah,
definitely say to people that it's probably a good idea to, educate yourself on, like, alcohol, and what it does to you, and how it works and things like that. And then you can start to understand a little bit more about the people who have stopped drinking, why they've stopped drinking,
yeah.
um, and then ultimately to get to the point where you don't even want to have a drink, and you're not just trying, like, white knuckling your way through a month, because you'll just never do it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You end up getting to the end of the month and then
Yeah,
getting smashed at 1 minute past midnight. Just getting back into
Exactly.
it. I know, so I've done that, you know.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, when's it midnight? Okay, cool. You know,
Yeah.
start drinking again.
That's it. Have a
Yeah.
month's worth in a week or something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Undo all that hard work. But
Yeah.
what's one thing you wish you'd known before you started?
Um, I probably would. I wish I'd have known that it actually isn't. It isn't that bad, and it's actually really good.
Yeah.
Um, I think when you think about stopping drinking, you kind of have this idea that it's going to be, as we said, boring, or you just not a good experience. But yeah, like when you start doing it and you do a few weeks, you do a couple of months, you actually realise that it's actually really good.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know why I was dreading it. I don't know why I was thinking it was going to be awful. Like, sure, there's bad times and there's times where you question what you're doing and whether you are doing the right thing and if you're on the right path and all that stuff. But ultimately, it's like, yeah, it's just amazing. It's a great thing to do, and there's so many benefits and like no negatives whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. All right, last question. 2 months ago, you gave something up. What have you gained?
Uh, I've gained a little bit of my self back. I think I gained,
Yeah.
yeah, just maybe something that I'd lost in the drinking days. Um, yeah, just a little bit of me. So that definitely feel that's what I've gained. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
that's awesome.
understanding a bit more about who I am and me as a person, um, and having more time to think about things and yeah, just discover a little bit more about who I am and what I want to do and what interests me and things like that. So yeah, I've definitely learned more about myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. What a great ending. All right. Well, and also, I know that when we first talked about you doing this, you were a bit nervous, but how good that you can listen back to this once it's
Mm.
published. And if you're having a wobble, then it's going to be a pretty
Yeah.
good reminder about why you're doing what you're doing, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully you can use this podcast as a guide as well to sort of get you through any dark days that you might have, because I mean, yeah, we all have dark
Mm.
days, and sometimes we're constantly questioning why we're doing what we're doing, but the answers are right there, and you've pretty much given them all
Mm.
in this
Mm.
episode. So thank you for being so honest, and thank you for being so brave and coming on here. It's been really cool to chat.
No, thank you. Like I say, thanks for having me on. I was I was a bit nervous, but yeah, it's just great. As one thing I've definitely learned is it's good to talk.
Yeah,
I've never been a big talker, but yeah, since I started doing this, I've started coming out of my shell a bit more, and it's definitely helped me.
yeah, yeah. No, it's cool, Matt. All right. Well, to the listeners, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's been really cool chat with Matt. So yeah, I will speak to you all soon. But thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you. Cheers, Abby.
Cheers. All right.